Hey folks, this is a quick reading from one of my blogs. I didn't like the name of it, so I'm just going to name it as a general question. Do societies evolve? So, here we go. For most of you who are unfamiliar with him, Habermas is one of the world's foremost philosophers. His major claim to fame is the development of his communicative rationality theory. What I find to be so interesting about this guy is his daring claim, particularly daring to me, since this idea is not portrayed very much in my undergrad classes, that societies go through a development or an evolution, just like individuals do personally. But the individual and the society at large share some kind of common evolutionary structure of growth. That is, societies reflect the individual and the individual reflects society. No man is an island because we share common languages or cultures, or as Habermas puts it, a life world. He's basically saying that individual studies of development are much more researched, but the evidence is abundant that there is a macro developmental spectrum too. A shared language helps establish a shared culture, and that culture can go through its own process of development in the complex interaction of people and their traditions. Their capacity to reflect on their worldviews, and even their capacity to change them in the light of new challenges, for instance. Um, Habermas mentions the shift from tribal societies to mythical-based ones, or rather the emergence of civilizations, is best understood as a cultural adaptation to growing population, to scarcity of resources. Um, a growing society could no longer identify itself from the perspective of its own ancestry. For instance, that is how the tribal cultures tended to. They related their authority to their ancestors. So, and its modes of organization, its ways of collaborating in a very decentralized way, were no longer effective in larger groups. Therefore, people naturally had to adopt different perspectives. They had to have different ideas and attitudes towards the world at large. They had to find a way to basically relate to other cultures and other tribes and survive in the same time. And to quote him, the transition to societies organized through a state required the relativization of tribal identities and the construction of a more abstract, meaning less body-bound, identity that no longer based the membership of individuals on common descent, but on belonging to a common territorial organization. This first took place through the identification with the figure of a ruler who could claim close connection and privileged access to a mythological power. In the framework of mythological worldviews, the integration of the different tribal traditions was accomplished through a large-scale, syncretic expansion of the world of the gods, a solution that proved to be rather unstable and precipitated the next transformation. End quote. I bring up this point by Habermas because we are facing a similar evolutionary challenge in modern times. As human populations expand, our modern tribes or nations can no longer remain isolated and self-interested. We are at a point in civilization where we recognize whatever one nation does may affect the entirety of the world. We share global problems, global dangers, and as such we are faced with the challenge to adapt our life world to survive and establish some form of equilibrium. In other words, our common structure of consciousness has to find a more inclusive and cooperative mentality, just as it has done in the past, but to a more intensified and certainly more tolerant worldview. Pluralism, cultural relativism, has done what the relativization of tribes has done, but there still is a lacking of a clear idea as to what may bind us together. At least this sort of discussion is lacking in popular media, where it's still a heated debate. Some academics recommend a world federation, which may be necessary and inevitable, but how will it be structured? Who will make up the federation? Will it be in danger of becoming a dangerous oppressive power? Still others recommend uniting through a common challenge, such as avoiding ecological disaster, solving the energy crisis. While this is part of our world's problems, I don't think the problem will unite us so much as the emergence of a more inclusive worldview, something that sweeps all of those issues up in a common life world. But how might this manifest today? Well, I believe another point of view is emerging within society. Habermas also mentions that aside from cultural evolution and a social dimension, physical adaptations of a society also provide new means and new ways of socializing. For example, a complex language system, combined with the ability to write, created an even deeper cultural space to bind a society together. We are in the process of a similar expansion of cultural space. The internet is the bare bones skeleton of a future culture space, which potentially may envelop the world. Some say the internet is the greatest invention next to the printing press. That it too has helped expand and complexify cultural space by differentiating um, increasing layers of complexity. And that is a common directional, I guess you could say, path in evolution. So, what we have the potential for now is the means for a new cultural worldview, a world-centric, collaborative, and cooperative society. The physical setup of the internet empowers collaboration and empowers cooperation and group effort. So efficiently, it's beginning to outrank traditional hierarchies and bureaucracies, not to mention overpower them. The idea of power is very important in the social sciences, so understanding this new mode of social action as being empowering, even more so than these centralized authorities, will provide individuals with the inspiration for new philosophies, new worldviews that are more tolerant, more universal, more inclusive. We're living in fascinating times, and I believe we now have the means, or at least the seeds, for a true world civilization. Okay, that's the end of the blog that I did. I skipped the first quote just because it's very intense and very long. Um, I'm basically arguing, or perhaps positing, the idea that we are at the edge of sort of a cultural evolution, but it needs something more than just the physical means, because we have that right now. We have the internet. What we need now is a life world. What we need now is a, a, a a mentality, a perception, a spiritual impulse to change things. Take spirit as you will. So, what kind of philosophies can we have in this modern world? What do you think, as a general question to whoever's reading, whoever's watching this, what do you think is a appropriate means for transforming society if we have the physical means that we can now build up from? Because any kind of transformation needs a physical basis, some kind of grounding. We have the grounding. Now, what is the philosophy? What do you think is going to emerge, and how can we help? And these are just general ideas. So, yes, make a response video if you'd like. I'd more than welcome that because it's a very complex subject. Or leave a message, or just message me. Thank you very much for listening.